Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Plat. Purplatypus is the name, and today we're going over my Unicorn Overlord review video. We're going to be just talking about what I think about the game so far, reviewing the demo as a whole, kind of as a standalone thing, and kind of why I'm so excited for this game. But very first, before we jump into it, you know what we got to do. I want to thank my subscribers and my supporters and members. Thank you very much. If you would consider joining, becoming a member or supporter, I'll make sure you get a shout out in the beginning of a video, and also it helps support the Plat. Maybe one day this could be a job instead of a hobby. Anyway, thank you, friends. Thank you, Bring the Pain, Miguel, Shadows, and Mac for supporting the Plat. Now, let's actually talk about the demo. There's a lot to go over. First of all, I have more information now. This is, if you've seen my previous video, this is a 7-hour demo. All right, you have 7 hours of game time. However, let's take a look here. You can see my playthrough is at 7.5 hours. That, first of all, pause. That is an insane amount of time for a demo. Octopath Traveler 2 had an insane demo, and it was like 2 or 3 hours or something. This is over twice as long, and it doesn't tick down when you're in the menus. It only ticks down when you're like this or playing the game. Once it's here, 39 minutes. You can see it right below my camera here. 39 minutes and 27 seconds remaining. 39 minutes and 26 seconds remaining. All right, but 39 minutes, 26 seconds remaining. But let's go ahead and let's go back here. Let's just load my save really quick, you know. 39 minutes and 27 seconds, right? Oh, we're at 39 minutes and 29 seconds. That's right. You can reload and have this much playtime from anywhere that you want. So I actually can go around and show you stuff and not worry about losing my playtime. So 7-hour demo, doesn't tick down in menus, and its progress carries over into the main game. This is easily the biggest demo I have ever played of a game, assuming you're not counting something like an early access version of a game like Baldur's Gate 3, right? The whole first chapter, you know, the act 1 they give you was more than this. But like, as far as a demo of a game, this is the craziest. This is so good. Because this is 1.0 essentially, right? I mean, it's the progress carries over. But let's actually talk about the game itself, other than the structure. There's a couple things I want to touch on: story, gameplay, I guess, and art. That's kind of it. Gameplay will kind of encompass most of what I want to say. But let's just start with the story. Personally, I wasn't gripped by it. Now, this game, I'm going to be honest, it probably never had a chance. I just came off of Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is some of the highest budget, cutscene, emotional, engaging content, story-wise, of any game of all time. This game, it was just fine. I just kind of got bored, and I just wanted to play the game. The cutscenes weren't that interesting to me, and the story was kind of generic. I don't have connections to these characters because they're not like these. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of characters. It's not like you got 3 characters like in Like a Dragon. You spend like 100 hours with Ichiban and you attach to him. It wasn't much to me, right? So I'm skipping through it. I'll be completely honest. So, you know, you might love it. So far, it's not for me, and I'm not really giving it a fair chance because it didn't really have a chance. Gameplay. This game is crazy. It is so much deeper than I would have guessed. There's a lot of complexity in this game, and the harder levels of difficulty that I'm playing on aren't taking it easy. Like, I've had to retry many fights many times because you really do need to utilize the game systems to your advantage. If you're not paying attention, you can't just breeze your way through this game, at least on the harder difficulties. Maybe the easier difficulties, you could just kind of power through it. But as far as like the team building goes, it is hugely important. Now, in my previous video, I mentioned that it was a auto battler, and I've kind of rephrased. I want to kind of rephrase how I think of that, because it's like an auto battler if you consider Fire Emblem an auto battler, right? You have a unit attack a unit, but then the combat resolves, right? You don't hit the button, but you do choose to make a unit attack a unit. So if you consider like Fire Emblem like an auto battler, then this would be an auto battler too. But I don't think that phrase was ever used back then, you know. So I wouldn't really call this an auto battler. It's true that the combat does auto resolve. You know, the outcome is not determined by your skill in the combat, but everything you do is about the planning, right? The equipment, the weapons, the character building, the team that they're in is hugely. Imagine if Fire Emblem had 4 characters. All these characters have a lot of depth to them. They have a lot of abilities, a lot of weapons, and you could choose how they use their weapons and their abilities, in which order enemies are going to go, what they're going to target. And then the enemy has all that too. So there is so many variables to think of. I actually think this game has a potential like unparalleled level of depth and mastery. There is an incredibly high skill cap in this game. Like, let's just look at a random character here, right? So this guy has access to these skills right now. He can get more, and if you get weapons, you can get more. And as you get new classes, like if I look at I have a guy that has more skills, right? Actually, let's just go to the character list so I could take a look at him, right? You start off like Fire Emblem style with a level 20 guy that's never going to get stronger, but he's pretty good in the early game, but you don't want him to eat experience. But you know, he has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skills before his equipment and before his accessories, right? And so you get to choose. He has all these skills and he has 2 ability points to use them, but you get to choose exactly what you want to do. All right, so this is your gambits. If you play Final Fantasy 12, you choose the order of how you want him to prioritize, and then you also choose what conditions are, right? Let's say the number 1 priority, this is an example, if your target is below 75 HP, you're gonna heal. All right. However, you know, if that doesn't come true, then they might just go to slice and they'll target the guy with the lowest HP, trying to finish him off, right? So it's an order of priority, which is very cool. And if you don't want this to be heal, you know, you can switch these around pretty easily. Slice and heal. You could add, this condition list is insane. You could add the type. You're right, bestial, angel, elven, caster. I don't know if these are all gonna be like, I mean, there's a lot of types, right? HP percentages, AP percentages, attack type, unit size, own condition. If there's 5 or more enemies, maybe you'll want to do an AoE attack. Maybe you won't. If there's 2 or fewer, maybe you want to do some single target stuff like high stats, low stats. It's absolutely the ability to customize and set up a perfect team comp to do exactly what you want. Like, it's like, it feels like a programmer kind of level thing, except instead of having 1 program running, you have like 4 to 6 programs running, and you want them to interact in a specific way. And then what the enemy's doing could interfere with that, really fuck up your plans. Like, let's say you're having a build that's really based on, for example, I have Bruno here. Bruno, he has bulk up. When he takes damage, he uses one of his passive points to heal himself, which is very good. So I don't have healers with him because he typically can heal himself twice per combat, making him feel like an indestructible tank. But if he goes up against a thief, an enemy thief will attack him before he goes, and he'll actually steal both of the passive points. So Bruno can no longer use a passive point to heal himself. So he heals himself 0 times in that fight instead. And so now not having a healer will completely fuck up the whole team comp, because Bruno's just going to go down because he's not healing himself, and then the backline is vulnerable, right? So there's all these things to think about. Huge amount of depth. And it's been immensely fun, like immensely fun. But one of the things I want to talk about is the depth beyond like just the combat system and how it goes. The actual units themselves have such incredibly defined roles that are so different and varied and specific. Like, they all feel unique in incredible ways, right? Like Lex here is, he would be like a standard unit in my opinion, right? He doesn't have that much going on. He's kind of got 2 skills, right? But really what he's got going on is a bunch, because once you go over to the details, you can see that they have a leader effect. He has you know, basically a unique active skill and a unique passive skill. And then sometimes they'll have like an additional class trait, which is, this case, he doesn't have it. But even this guy, who's just a fighter, you know, he's just a fighter, but he's the only unit in the game that passively can protect your backline from arrows. He can come in, and if they're attacking your backline with arrows, he will jump in front of them and he will block it and completely nullify the damage. But he only does this once per fight, you know, or once per passive point, which is once per fight early in the game. And so even then, and then his attack increases his defense. So he's like kind of tanky, and he's really good against ranged attacks. And also, if he's your leader, then basically enemies that are far away can help back up. Like ranged archers can help attack you if they're in the fight. They're called assists, ranged assists. He's really good at attacking things underneath ranged assists because he takes less damage from that, right? So he's kind of like an anti-archer tank in a way. But he's not the tankiest guy. Like, he's actually got relatively low physical defense. Not super low, but I mean, when I say his defense is low, I don't mean that his literal number is low necessarily. It's more that the skill set is low, right? This guy, on the other hand, is a different kind of tank. He's a hoplite. And so he uses a great shield. The great shield he basically has a way higher chance to guard here, right? He has the Templar shield, but if he had a worse shield on, he would have, you know, this gives him 20%. So he's kind of built for this right now, but typically the great shield has a higher percent chance to guard. So every time he gets attacked, he has a 64% chance to guard. And then the great shield actually blocks a large amount. It blocks 50% of the damage, whereas medium shields only block 25% of the damage, right? So you're already very likely to block damage here, and that's just from his equipment. Then you get over here, his sting attack isn't that important, but he's got heavy cover. Basically, he will jump in front of allies, anyone, but prioritize the back row to take damage for him. Now, it doesn't stop the damage, and so if someone tries to take a magic hit in the back, this could actually get him killed. But if it's a physical attack, like someone's just trying to attack your other frontliner, and they're just trying to hit him really hard, this guy just jumps in front, takes the damage, but he guards it, and it takes, so he'll take damage, unlike the other guy, that's the arrow guy, but he's so good at resisting normal physical attacks with his high defense, right? And then he's considered armored, so some things are weaker against him, some things are stronger. And besides that, there's another type of tank. These are just the tank units. I'm just trying to give an example. These are the tank units here. This character is the thief. Now, you don't normally think of a thief as a tank, but this game puts them front and center as they say, hey, I'm a frontline unit. I dodge attacks. That's exactly what they do. They have high evasion, but beyond that, they use their passive points. Instead of guarding attacks, they get guaranteed evades. Now, it is only a single hit, so there are counters to this, right? There's all this stuff has counters, which is what's so good. But this counters certain things so hard. Like when there's units like that just have an insanely high physical attack, like maybe this guy here, he has a 39 attack compared to my other units. He could literally one-shot Travis, but he would never, it's literally impossible for this unit. If he goes first, then he attacks Travis. Travis will avoid it every single time because this guy will eat the evasion. And so what's also really good about the thief, beyond having evasion and beyond having guaranteed evade and a high evasion by default, he also does pretty good damage, but he's got passive steal, which is like a hybrid defensive and offensive ability. It's an attack. It does normal damage, nothing crazy, but normal damage, and it will steal the enemy's passive points. So now suddenly, instead of Lex being able to go and jump behind and defend your ally, you eat that from him. Or Bruno is a great example. Bruno can no longer heal himself because you just take it. Now, this doesn't proc if they guard. So it's actually worse against other tanks than it is against other types of units. So but when he takes it, he also gives it to himself. It is a steal. So he goes from 1 point to 2 or 3 points, and suddenly he could have 3 evades or something like that. So it's an evasion tank. There are counters, but it's insanely powerful. And this is just like, I'm just trying to explain that there are so many types of units. Every one of these units is a different type, and they have their own identity in that way. The only thing I have 2 of is knights, and that should tell you what I think about knights in general. But we got a paladin, we got a fighter, we got a hoplite, we got a, I forgot what she's called. We got I think she's just called a soldier. We got a thief. We got a griffin knight, you know, we got a bruiser, hunter, housecarl, mage. So like all these units are as unique in these ways, and it's with a small amount of abilities too. They don't need to overwhelm it, but there's a huge and very intricate, like, if you've heard of rock, paper, scissors, right? It's rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, handgun, shovel, whatever. Just keep adding stuff, right? It's a really big rock, paper, scissors type mechanic with a lot of nuance to it. Now, that's not all. I just have to say, this game has the best itemization that I have seen in an RPG like this. There are so many items that are all feel powerful. This one is just a bow I could put on. I could put on Ralph, and then instead it will give him the ability to inflict burn when he attacks, which is very cool because the fire mage, if an enemy's burning, he has an AoE attack that will hit everybody, but only if a target's burning. So that could synergize with that, but maybe you don't want him with the fire mage. Maybe you want him with someone else. So now you could have him with a recruit short bow or a different kind of short bow that I'll show you, where it's like, now this is just, you know, gets extra HP, gets extra experience. You know, a hollowed mace. Heal 10% whenever you use your active skill, so you heal yourself every time you heal another enemy, basically. And then you get the ability, on top of that, a new passive ability called Reheal, where at the start of battle, you heal your entire front row of allies, right? And then there's items that do that, but like I haven't even gotten to the crazy stuff yet. Like I just wanted to give you an example of, we could actually look here by hitting X, right? So there's an unwavering spear here. This unwavering spear is insanely good because it makes it so your characters, one, it gets higher attack than a normal spear, but it also makes your first attack have true shot, or true aim, which means it cannot miss. Even an assassin or a thief's evade will not evade this attack. It's guaranteed to hit whatever it's targeting. So that's insanely good. That's a great way to counter. Runic sword. Suddenly, this has like almost no attack, but has a huge magic stat, and it gives your character the ability to deal magic damage instead of physical damage, meaning suddenly when you're going up against a hoplite with 35 armor, but 2 magic defense, you can make your physical damage dealer kind of be a hybrid, you know, magic damage dealer here for this fight. I put it on my Lord, absolutely was eating the hoplites up. So very, very good option there. And what's important is you might want to switch these out in different fights. And so every one of these towns has these incredible items, right? Sanguine Blade, every time you deal damage with this weapon, you're suddenly healing back. The Dancer's Bracelet was really good. That makes it so you could spend your passive point to boost another ally's action. The Battler's Shield is a shield that's weaker than other shields, but gives you physical attack. The Vitality Talisman is okay, that's just HP. The Crushing Axe is what I was looking for. That one is a really high damage axe, and it stuns an enemy when you hit them. So it doesn't make them skip their turn, but it kind of pushes it to the end of the combat round. So when their turn would come up, they miss it, and so they have to wait till when they would get another turn. So it lets you kind of temporarily, and if they have like a passive that reacts to being attacked, suddenly it won't go off. Like Bruno, for example, if you stun him, he won't heal after he gets attacked that time. The next time he'll still do it, but this time they miss the opportunity. But by using this and not using your normal axe attack, you're getting rid of the ability to suddenly lower an enemy's defense when you attack them. So you're not going to be dealing less damage, but it's a tactical option. Viper Fang lets you deal poison. Poison isn't the most powerful thing, but it is a way to get through really, really high defense things, and it is pretty good. The longer a fight goes on, the more poison's going to deal, and it's a pretty decent attack, but you're using this attack, you're suddenly not healing yourself when you use the Lord's passive healing effect. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the most insane one. This is the first like 3 towns. This level of itemization and customization is in the very first like 3 towns. When you get to your first kind of major town, one's like a castle town, this is when things take a big step up. Like suddenly you have the ability to create these insane combos. Just this weapon here, you can kind of see below me here, right? It has a, oh, sorry, flipping you off. No, I meant to point. This takes 2 action points to use, which is a ton. You know, that's twice as much as all these other good abilities. But by just having this equipped, you get an extra action point. So you could have this ability equipped to have 2 action points. And now you can just not use the active heal. And you could just have a bonus action point. That's busted. But active heal, which is insane, you can instead use that for both your action points. And it'll grant a different ally 1 AP while also healing them. So it's like all these options. It's so many. A shield that gives you passive protection, but then suddenly you're getting less attack damage because you're not using the Battler shield. You know, the Lapis thing is like this seems like a pure obvious good, right? 1 passive point. It's insane. But there are characters where you have like their passive isn't so strong that I really need to use it twice, where I just would rather give them an increased attack or the ability to increase their initiative. So you could manipulate the order. I mean, there's so much here. It's unbelievable, kind of, if I'm being honest. Like the amount of depth in the customization, the amount of depth in the characters and the way to build the teams and how you create these formations and then how you go into battle. The actual combats themselves are also very, very fun and they're good. They are real time. And as you go around, you can kind of switch units. It could be a little tough. You want to make sure that your tactics are on point, because like if you make an enemy, all your characters have stamina, and if you just attack, suddenly they'll run out of stamina. And if you run out of stamina, you can't move and you can't do combat. So if someone attacks you, they just get free attacks on you, until they'll kill you. If you leave an ally with no stamina out in the open without anyone to back them up to take the combat for them, they will get attacked till they die. So and then if you're running away, let's say you have 1 stamina and you decide you're running away to go back, but the enemy's faster, they're on a horse and they're chasing you down, if they engage combat with you, they're still taking that stamina and they'll still make you run out of stamina and they'll still kill you. So you don't want enemies to be too isolated because you can get overwhelmed. Even if you have a unit that's insanely strong and they can kill 10 units in a row, no problem. They don't have the stamina for it. It's such a good way to counter what I always do in Fire Emblem of just having one unit carry the entire playthrough. They ensure that you're going to have a more well-balanced, rounded team. Besides it being almost impossible to brute force the passive and actions based on the inherent value of things, you know, like it's hard to brute force a archer or a flyer beating an archer. It's just hard to do. Or a thief beating an archer, because archers have true strike. They're guaranteed to hit, right? So it's hard to brute force that, but beyond that, the stamina system is actually huge. And so when we go into combat, here, let's fight this guy here. So you can just do these mock battles and they'll give you a preview. Now the preview is actually exact and it's not always clear exactly why. So sometimes if you really know everything that's going on, you might want to skip it. But if some reason like you're losing, you're like, why am I losing this? Like, why do I technically lose this? But here's the whole difference, right? If I just switch my thing here, like let's say for this build, I already could see, because they're using a bunch of physical guys. If I just switch, how do I do this? If I switch this guy here and here, like that, now suddenly I'm taking even more damage, which is not what I thought. So I'm actually interested to see it. Like, this is one we could watch. This fight doesn't even have a problem because we just tank all the damage. Here, I think we should do good, but let's take a look here. Let's see exactly what happens here. So we already know what Bruno does, right? I kind of talked about it. So you go into these combat style, which is just really good. Ooh, good crit, bro. So you attack him for 16, and then you know what? He heals it up. You attack him. Oh, that's why, because this guy can hit the back row as a flyer.
Are you okay?
So that's exactly why. So you look at, I forget about stuff. Yeah, he didn't actually do anything there, but you see that he has the reason that this is a good tutorial fight beyond what I just kind of was dumb and didn't learn was, oh, how do I select him? I want to select him. There we go. So you could look at his stuff exactly. You could math out exactly what's going to happen, right? He prioritizes cavalry, but what I forget is that this is a ranged attack. Flying units, even though they visually melee, these are considered range attacks, which you can see down there in the traits of the attacks, right? And so these guys aren't, and range attacks can attack the back row. And because they attack an entire row, that means these guys can attack an entire front or an entire back row, which is going to absolutely wreck me here because cavalry takes double damage from flying, right? That's exactly what's happening here. So, but if I do something like this, I'm actually interested because if they could attack the back row, you think that they would, I bet what happens is our archer can't even hit the thing. So let's see exactly what happens here. I could probably try to math it out, but I kind of want to just see exactly what they do. So we do this. So he jumps in, takes no damage, right? So this is coming from the mage. Watch this. High swing. Interesting. So look at that. This is actually this is another great tutorial. So we burn him, but we leave him alive. But his end of turn, if an enemy's on fire, he does an AoE attack. So he does almost kill them, even though my archer is really bad in this fight. And if you actually defeat them in this, I'm pretty sure that you get a bonus reward too. But what's a great tutorial about this is this shows you exactly that you could look at the enemies and exactly what they're going to do, right? This guy could attack my back row and deal an insane amount of damage, but he doesn't make a decision on the fly. His AI is like set. He does a high swing that prioritizes cavalry. If it doesn't prioritize so if that condition's not met and condition 2 is default, you can't see it. It's underneath me here. Let me lower this. There is a secondary thing here, right? Condition 1, condition 2. The default condition is just to attack the closest ally, the closest enemy, right? So if he had, for example, if he had high swing, prioritize cavalry, secondary, prioritize back row, he would still do a fuck ton of damage to me. But he's not going to do that because he's always going to attack my front row and deal basically no damage. So that's awesome. You know, this is badass. Let's see if we could beat him. Let's see if we could beat this guy, right? So let's go ahead and let's organize. I'm going to see, because our archer is not doing anything, right? So let's go ahead and do unit formation. I think I'm going to bring this unit here because he can attack the front and the back. It might not be good enough. We might want to bring this character, but let's take a look and see. It's kind of tough because, like, I don't know if I'm even strong enough. But there's so many knobs we could turn here. We take 0 damage now, but we're still not quite doing enough. So let's go to my unit details here, and let's see if we could change anything to give him a little more. And maybe instead of the short spear, do we have anything stronger? Not right now. That's my bad. We have a really good item here. The Warrior's Medallion, the Ring of the Unicorn. Maybe we take the Battler Shield instead, right? We get 2 more attack. Let's see how that does. Right now, it's 78. Did that make a difference? Let's find out. And then instead of the Templar Sword, maybe we go with a... We could do the Magic Sword. And then we could do a magic attack. How does that do? 89. See, look, we're getting closer because now we're basically going to one-shot the guy here. Prioritize armored. And then, so I could take a look. So you could do this for every fight. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So let's see. 18 defense. What's their magic defense? Only 8 magic defense. Okay. So I want... Are they identical? I want to attack that guy. So if I want to attack that guy, one thing I could do on my squad, I can move my guy. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out all these controls. I'm used to playing on keyboard, so it's kind of weird for me to play on the Switch controllers after a while. All right, unit formation. So if I move him here in front of this guy, suddenly now you're going to be targeting. Let's take a look here. Let's see how close we are. If everything's working how I think, you should magic attack. That's not what I want. Ooh, close. Okay. Yes. Let's try it one more time. Let's see if we can get it. Okay. So we're going to go to our unit formation. Sorry. We're going to go to organize. Go here. Organize. So let's see if we can switch this equipment here, right? Maybe the bangle's not that good for us. Maybe we do a... Changing the order could be good. An extra PP. Probably not good in this exact situation here. Crit rate plus 10. Suddenly getting... A crit's actually not good on this guy, though. That's one of the things I want to say. So, so prioritize armored. Also, row with I wonder if there's a way to specifically target the enemy I want to target. Let's take a look here. There might not be a way to target if there are 2 identical units. But let's take a look here. Maybe we can boost your attack. If we just get something stronger than the recruit spear, probably, right? Because we can guarantee a hit. We don't need closed charm. We could take the powerful call. Now we're talking. This will boost the attack of one of our allies here. So now we have this one, which activates before an ally attacks, gives 30% physical attack. Actually, we can, you know what? Even better. We can give that to someone else. So we can give you the 20% crit chance. Yeah. We can give you, instead of Ring of the Unicorn, which you don't need for this fight, we can give you the Dancer's thing. Yep. So now you're going to powerful call on our ally there. And the Battler Shield doesn't help here. Maybe we can just do more damage with something else. So let's take a look. 31. I don't think that's going to be quite enough. Let's try this out. Let's see what happens here. 152 damage. Look at that. So let's take a look. That's not what I want, but it's okay. I do want you to do this. So we're going to get 30% more powerful. And we did get the double crit. Look at that. And now this guy is going to use his magic, and then his end of turn thing will end it. Right? Like, now we won. We just got 2,000 war funds for beating that guy. And can we do it multiple times? I don't even know, because this time it may not work. This time it may, if we don't get the crit, it doesn't work, right? So maybe this time it won't work, right? For a perfect example. It's not going to work every time because the crit, but that one gave us a crit. So, like, you understand? Like, this is so fucking good. I'm kind of like in love with this game right now. It's so fun. It's so fun. There's so much depth to it. I'm having just such a good time. This video is 30 minutes long, and I would keep going. The music's good. The artwork's fine. I don't really like it, but I know it's good. It's just not my art style of choice. But mechanically, the presentation of this game, and when I mean presentation, I'm not talking about the art. The fact that you walk around this open world and you're exploring it and you're discovering new things, you're fighting enemies on the open world map, and then you're also going into these combat maps, and then you're also rebuilding towns, and you're unlocking new places to get items, and the items are fucking insane, and they're cool, and they're interesting, and new character types that are interesting. It's just like this demo is like a 10 out of 10, man. This demo is like a 10 out of 10. It's crazy how fucking good this demo is. I thought this game would be good. I didn't think it would be phenomenal, and this has been a phenomenal experience so far. I'm hyped. I hope you're hyped. Long ass review, I guess, for a whatever. Don't worry about it. Again, I could always just reload, right? So how much time do we have left? 28:17. Don't save, don't do that. I've also fucked up all my items for my normal team just for that one fight. So let's 28:17. Let's go back here. And now I'm free to kind of re-explore again for another half hour, right? There we go, 39:28. I don't have that 2,000 gold, but that's fine. Guys, that's going to be it for today. Thank you again to my supporters. If you want to see more Unicorn Overlord combat, please, I highly recommend that you like the video. If you like the video and you watch the video, that'll be such a big indicator for me. Because the thing is, truthfulness, I'm going to play this game no matter what. If the content doesn't do okay, it could do okay. It could do kind of bad, and I'll still do it. But if it just gets no views, like, I'm just not going to bother posting it to YouTube, you know. I'll just play the game, and I'll try to move on to something else to find something you guys do want to engage with. So it does send a strong signal if you want to see more of these videos, to like it, to comment on it, you know, watch the whole thing, and then try to get someone else to watch it too. We don't need to break hundreds of thousands of views. I'm not trying to be like that, but if we could just kind of keep up with where Infinite Wealth was, then that's absolutely going to be all the signal I need to make 100 videos on this game, and that I will do. Anyway, much love. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. See you on the flip-flops. Bye.